A bidding war in Hollywood begins today over the movie rights to one of the hottest-selling books these days. It's an erotic novel called 50 Shades of Grey, and we're told women just can't put it down. They're sharing it now, apparently, with just about everyone they know.
Contributor Lee Woodruff was way ahead of us on this one. She heard about the book.
Charlie.
Should I stop there, my dear?
Wow.
She heard about this book months ago in the suburbs of New York, and she is here with her report. Lee, good morning.
Good morning.
I felt bad but then I felt better when I said to Lee, I hadn't heard about it. Erica hadn't heard about it. Had you heard about it,
I
Charlie?
read a front page story in the New York Times.
Yes.
Right.
Well, we all think Charlie wrote it because the initials are a little shady on the Charlie. But this 50 Shades of Grey is the new Lady Chatterley's Lover, or the new Sex and the City. And it's suburban women who just can't get enough of it.
Of what?
The book. What do you get when whitewashed suburbia reveals its darker side? 50 Shades of Grey, a popular erotic novel by British author E.L. James that tells the story of a virginal college student seduced by an older CEO. The book's being called Twilight for Moms.
I don't know how long I've waited for you.
But there's nothing PG-13 about it.
What it adds to it is the more graphic domination, submission, sex scenes. And I think that's why it's creating more of a buzz. I think what women are saying is, this is so hot.
Mostly through word of mouth, the novel and its two sequels have topped the New York Times ebooks chart. It created a feminine frenzy.
When women enter their late 30s and their 40s, they come into their own sexually. They're more willing and confident to start thinking about what they want. Especially if they've been in a long-term relationship. So maybe it's hit that, that group, and they happen to be at that age, so that they're willing to really talk about it.
None more willing than my sister Nancy and her friends, who first introduced me to the book. Ladies, look at those smiles.
I'm blushing already.
You guys were on top of it here in the suburbs in Westchester. Were you surprised that it's become the phenomenon that it has?
I was surprised when it was recommended to me by these, I think, quite conservative women, you know, that this is what was going on. But then I talked to people, and everybody's heard of it.
I'd heard that people were liking the fact that they could have it on their Kindle or their Nook because they could be on the subway and no one has any idea what you're reading.
Until you start breathing heavily on the subway and everybody knows exactly what you're reading, or blushing.
Now suddenly women are reading passages to each other. It's not the same thing. It's changed what reading, I think, what reading was.
But the Grey series isn't just entertainment. It's also changing attitudes towards sex in the suburbs.
I just think some of it sounded like an awful lot of fun. And some of it was a little far out.
You know, in the past, if a couple or an individual watched a porno flick, a woman wouldn't talk to her girlfriends about this. But reading this book and knowing that your friends are reading it too, it kind of gives you permission to talk about sex and use vocabulary among friends that we might not have before.
Did you just say porno?
I did. I did. Porno.
Emboldened by the discussion, we called our friend Jeff.
I gotta put my glasses on.
To get a male's perspective on female fantasy. We asked if the Grey phenomenon was a good thing.
Well, yeah, if it leads to a very healthy relationship, absolutely. It's not like it's never been done before, but it's now, well, maybe I can try it, because now it's in the #1 bestseller.
Wait, so your sister said we can read passages to each other?
Women were, this is where I first heard about it. Dinner, my sister said, have you heard about this? People are bringing this to dinner parties and sliding the Kindle to each other to read it around the table. And now what I heard yesterday is men are calling to each other on the Stairmaster in my town and saying, is your wife on chapter 3 yet? Or have you done chapter 7 yet? Or men are waking their wives up in the middle of the night.
And saying I'd like a little chapter 5?
None of this is new to Charlie. Look at him. He's just sitting there like, know all about this.
So Lee, they're having sex in the suburbs. This is good.
Not
That's
just
a good
the
thing.
city. Not just
That's
the
a
city,
good
girlfriend. Yeah, no, this is, I went to a breakfast yesterday and a dinner, and it was all anybody talked about.
And there's a movie, possibly?
The movie is being bid today, but there's a whole lot of talk about this. When you put a face to it, Lots of people are thinking Charlie Rose should be the CEO for this movie, for casting, by the way. But when you put a face to it, does it change your fantasy?
Notice he didn't object.
What? No, I noticed.
Yes, he did.
I'm thinking Richard Gere, Charlie.
Why would I dare get in a conversation with 3 women like you?
See, we were hoping you'd be at the table. We were. But does it change your fantasy? Part of reading, part about this book.
Is this what it is about women's fantasy?
Well, part of a book is that you can put anybody's head on that body, right? If your husband's gained 75 pounds, you can just imagine it's Brad Pitt.
He can look like George, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so does it, what happens when it's a movie? I don't know, 9.5 weeks, who remembers that? That was pretty steamy.
Oh, no, I'd like to see it. I would like to see
Gayle, I'll go with you, girlfriend.
The author. Who's the author, Lee?
E.L., and now I'm completely
James. I think, right?
And so it's one of those sort of J.K. Rowling. I'm still convinced it's Charlie. I really am.
What are you talking about?
Nom de plume.
If there are initials, it's really Charlie.
I would bet my
Lee,
firstborn it is not Charlie.